Africa. The Trans-Saharan trade routes were a huge part of Africa in the 13th century. It largely impacted their culture and the culture surrounding them. Camels, slaves, and religion were the key ideas and contributed to much of the trade in the time.
Oh, I may not look it, but I am of great help. Get back to work, you pathetic peasant.
The slave trade was also referred to as the Arab trade. It was conducted across the Sahara Desert. This supplied Europe with its slaves and later on supplied slaves to go to work in the Americas. In addition to slaves, main trade objects at this time were gold and salt. Mali and Ghana became known as the land of gold. At this point in time, salt was worth a lot more than gold, and the two items were the most valuable. Salt was very valuable due to its abilities to act as an insulator to keep their products such as meat cool. The salt would come from Tawatini and travel all the way to Timbuktu.
I would like 3 slabs of salt.
I would like 2 slaves. I guess you got it, dude. Almost 17 million people were sold into slavery during this time. The areas that were mostly impacted were the Indian Ocean, North Africa, and the Middle East. Then, around 5 million African slaves were transferred to other places in the world by Muslim slave traders.
A way of transportation was by camel caravans. Camels were a great way of transportation because of how long they could go without water. Camels would help merchants by carrying any trade goods such as salt slabs that weighed up to 200 pounds. Merchants had to use special saddles due to the large hump on the back of the camel that prohibited them from stacking the salt slabs on their backs. Without the saddle, merchants would struggle riding and putting goods on the camels. While travelers were on their journeys, they were able to take rests at stops called the Caravanserai. They were stops along the Silk Road and Trans-Saharan routes, usually built a day's journey apart. It supported and encouraged the flow of trade and information during these times. A famous traveler and scholar around this time was Ibn Battuta. He was a Moroccan Muslim scholar who traveled most of the Islamic world, but also many non-Muslim lands. Ibn Battuta went on to write a book about his travels, informing people on his findings.
The Jean Gerber Mosque was located in Timbuktu, Mali, and was a very famous learning center built in 1327. Built with earth and bricks, the interior served as a natural insulator that was able to keep the inside nice and cool. It was home to a variety of language and dialect written books. Not only was it an education center, but also a place of worship.